Like I've got a knee brace sock.
Yeah,
Guy.
I saw that on Instagram actually.
Yeah, Goat brand.
Yeah,
And yeah, he's a legend. Like yeah, he'll just send me stuff.
Yeah.
Like just socks and that, and I'll just put it up on Instagram and things like that. So, but the way I sort of sold it to him was like, hey man, like I'll buy, like at a discount code, like I'll buy at a discount rate, and I'll buy all my socks, and then after a couple months or whatever, a year or whatever you think, then snowball from there. And yeah, I think it was like 3 months later, he was like, fuck, here, dude, like start taking me stuff, because I was like, dude, they're actually good socks and they actually work. And that's the biggest thing is like, I'm not going to rep something that I don't run or wear or like. Like if I don't like it, well, I'm like, well, I'm not going to rep your brand just because you're giving it to me. Like, so I just more take on things that I like and comfy. Like my Alpine Star helmet, like they don't sponsor me, they don't help me out at all. But I just like their shit, so I just run their helmet and boots. So.
Go, go, go! And you're doing it, he's in! That's a massive crash, and it's happened immediately! This is amazing! Big shot, and it's lights out, and away we go!
you were saying a book before because she's got a broken wrist.
Yeah,
So, and you were saying like you just cut the wrist off at a certain point. Do you get, because of the shows that come up quickly, do you kind of cut corners that could go to the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was racing, we did a lot. Like I was young, dumb. Like my wrist doesn't bend anymore.
Oh,
Just
same-
like Dan.
same
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, for all those who can't see, Dan's trying to show his wrist as well. It doesn't bend backwards after
Yeah.
slamming into a wall.
yeah, no, this
Yeah.
one's no good. So yeah, it's,
Oh, same wrist as me. Yeah, it doesn't
left
work.
one. Yeah. It's just cut it off and get a new one, but not yet. But yeah, it's the same thing. Like break your wrist. Like fuck, I'm sitting second in the championship. Like you got all these. Like when I rode for the shop, I was like fuck, all these sponsors and people that are helping me. I was like fuck, I got to at least get second or third. So you just cut it off the day before, go race and stay in the championship, and not get first, but at least you're top three. So everyone's dad's happy, team's happy. So it's.
Did you wrap it or anything just to keep it in place?
Nah.
They won't notice.
I now know that at least should put some sort of strapping tape around to hold it, but back then I was like, nah, she'd be like, worry about it after.
Yeah. So with you, obviously, with the injuries and stuff like that, is there any advice that you'd give to like kids listening to this of how to get into FMX type of thing if they're bored of motocross? Do you know what I mean? Like, because there would be kids out there going, oh, fuck, how do I get into that? Do you know what I mean?
It's sort of word of mouth, really. Like I only got into it because I knew my mate that I raced with and got into it that route. But then there's been other kids, like I know another guy, Southie, that he literally didn't know anyone, didn't know nothing, just bought a bike, brought a ramp and started hitting it. And it was like a 30-foot gap, and then just got more confident and brought it back, and then worked out like, oh, you got to build your down ramp up and all these little things. So, but yeah, just start off small. Like don't think you got to hit 75 feet straight away, because you'll definitely end up in hospital. Because there's so many things that you've got to work out, like the pitch of the ramp, how it's rolled, like the height of the ramp. You got to have your down ramp at the certain sort of angle and height. Otherwise, you're just going to destroy your ankles and stuff like that. So definitely start off small, and preferably with a tabletop, and you just sort of keep going and going and going until you land on the down ramp, and then you're like, okay, just keep going to that, and you can work it into a double and take the middle out.
Yeah.
How do people learn though? Is it just like you said, you meet up with mates, you teach each other, it's through that word of mouth, or is there places like, a lot of other sports is you go, you train, there's coaches, there's this, there's that. How does the sport work in terms of that?
So a lot of the times it's just your dad yelling at you.
Yeah.
do this properly, or for me anyway.
Yeah.
But there is people, like I know Joel Evans. He was a couple of years above me. He's still racing now, and he does coaching clinics.
Yeah.
So you can be like, I'm being. I think he's got a couple coming up somewhere, and be like, I'll be in Mundubra, and then Gundawindi, like pay X amount, and then I'll give you some tips on how to do it. And so like those sort of things.
Yeah.
I remember doing a couple with Robbie Marshall. He was a good racer and a good FMX rider. So he's like, and it's the little things that you don't think of, like instead of riding the main line, like move over a little bit, opens the track up, you got more of a flow. Like 14 years old, you just think hold it flat and you're gonna win. But
Yeah.
he's like, you got to have a flow, and there's all these things. Like sometimes it's quicker to go the outside than the inside, and so just coaching clinics, like there's always on Instagram, and I think there's one BD something out near up the sunny coast somewhere, and he does coaching clinics as well. That's pretty much his full-time job.
Yep.
he just helps out kids and teaches them the sort of correct way on how to do things. Yeah, and sort of same thing with FMX in a sense too. Like, not so much now because you got to have a certain license to coach.
Yeah, right.
So you got to do a course and whatnot.
Can you explain a bit more about that? Like the coaching, how to get into coaching FMX?
I got no idea.
Got no idea.
Yeah, I just know you got to have a license. Because we went to QMP. I was like 15, I think, and with a mate, and we just rolled into the freestyle ramps and signed the waiver to say we can ride. Started hitting them, didn't think anything of it, just hitting the middle one, throwing whips, having fun. And then this other fella that used to run Tivoli Raceway, so he knew me and my mate, that we were under the age because you had to be 16 and over. But at the time we didn't know. And the guy running it, he's like, you're riding better than half the guys that are FMX riders. So I didn't think anything of it. And he comes over like, no, they're underage. And he's like, sorry, dude, you're going to have to get out. Like, I can't. These are underage. So, yeah, I don't really know too much on the backside thing. I just know you got to have a license. And, yeah. But unless you know someone like me or like someone and that will let you come to a compound or somewhere that will give you tips, then, yeah, that's the only other sort of way. Like, I have people hit me up on Instagram like, hey, man, like, how do I get into it? And like, if you're around at this track, can I come? Can you give me some tips and things like that? So it's just really word of mouth and just having the balls to go and talk to someone and things like that.
Yeah. What about how do you think the future of FMX is going? Because as Brooke said before, a lot of shit's shutting. So how do you think the future will be? Will you just end up in stadium shows potentially? Like, how do you think it's going to end up with the way the world's going?
The world's fucked, but it's sort of hard. Like, it's getting to the point now where if you ain't doing double backflips, you ain't going to be anyone.
Yeah, okay.
In a sense, so it's like you got to be a gnarly dude to sort of get X Games and get sort of places. So it's sort of hard to say. Like, fuck, he could go through so many doors of where it could go. Like, it could be nothing or it could be this big thing, and it's just sort of what alley you want to go down to too. Like, if you want to be that gnarly dude, fucking go for it. Like, that's sick. Props to you. I ain't going to do no double backflips anytime soon.
Yeah.
Can't even backflip. So it's like, I ain't going to go down that road anytime soon, but I'm just, it's just sort of having the country shows and doing that sort of thing. It's fun and the kids still love it. So
yeah,
it's still progressing. Like, Sheeny a couple of years ago done a triple backflip, like, and then now Jo is doing it or trying to do it. I think he's real shut off on that side of things, which is fair. And he's trying to do it, but on a smaller scale to bring it to stadiums. So like for Nitro Circus and things like that, where you can have it in that stadium. Because where Sheeny done it was Travis Pastrana's house and this big fucking monsoon of a setup. Like, the ramp was like 100 feet tall and down ramp and all that sort of thing. So it's this gnarly setup. So I think Jay is trying to bring it to a smaller thing to bring the triple backflips to a show. So I think, which is sick. Like, props to him. He's a gnarly dude. Like, snapped his femur and then, he's just walking around on it like, this mad pimp limp going on, but he's just like, fuck, she'd be right. Like, back in the gym, like, just
and keeps going
and just keeps going. Like, he's back riding now and just shredding. Like, dude, you're nuts. Like, how? But it's I feel like FMX is sort of going to go back like that route in a sense, like more the show types. Like, you got to be gnarly to do the show sort of thing. Like, even Josh and Freestyle Kings, like Muggins in Perth, when they done the show like a couple of weeks ago, in Europe, they were doing this thing when they jump and then they got an elevator and then they nose bonk it to a front flip off and land on the down ramp.
It's an elevator, like an elevator to the ramp.
Like a platform, like to fix.
Oh right,
like like just a cherry picker or whatever they're called.
Yep.
And they just take the rails off and nose bonks it and
does
a front flip off it.
Holy shit!
So Muggins, for some fucking stupid reason, decided it'd be good to put his bike up there, go up, and then have a little lip off the end of it and do a backflip off it, and then land on the ramp. And he debuted it in Perth last weekend. He's the first one ever to do it. So it's like, they're just getting to that route of like techie sort of.
Yeah.
Like, there's a box, and you got to be out of that box to think of shit. And like Pat Bowden, like, just nuts. Like, the shit that he does on a bike, I'm like, are you even human? Like, you're from fucking some sort of planet somewhere else. Like, how do you even, how?
Yeah.
But it's sort of like, I feel like it's going to go down that more show route sort of thing. Competitions in Australia is very minimal and there's none really, to be honest. Like, the first one that happened in years was at the start of this year at Gap Creek. And since then, it's been like, since like 2010 or 2011 or something. From what I hear, that was the last sort of comp or 2013. And since then, it's just been no one wants to promote them or no one wants to do anything about them.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to go to Europe or America to do. Like America's popping off.
Are you thinking long term to do that, to go to America or Europe?
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
To keep your longevity of your career, because this is your career.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. I love America. Like I want to go. The missus doesn't love it, but
I don't like the healthcare side of it.
I can understand that.
It's expensive and it crashes, so it's expensive.
But yeah, just the shit you can do over there. Like the bike scene's like massive. Like you watch the AMA Supercross and motocross, like there's just thousands of people packing the stadiums and people that don't even ride. People are like, fuck, this is an event, let's go.
Yeah.
And they'll go watch it, like just for shits and just for something to do. Like, and it's just so much bigger. And there's no these shit rules you got over here. Like over here, you can't have a jump over 68 feet or fucking something like that.
Yeah, right.
On your racetrack, and it's like,
so there's rules within that. Over here.
Yeah. Like
I just thought it was all free for all.
I wish it'd be sick, but yeah, with the motorcycle in Australia, you got to have like there's rules of like your track has to be X amount long, like 2 point something Ks long, and your jumps can't be so tall and they can't be so long, and all these fucking gay rules. And America's just like, fuck, if you're fifth gear pin and you can make that jump, props to you.
Yeah,
like it's just way, and the scene over there, like shows, like there's shows galore over there. Like I got a fella that I rode in China with, Colby. He lives in Arizona, and that's all he does for a living, just ride shows for like just all in Mexico and around America, and just that's all he doesn't work, doesn't do anything, just ride shows. Yeah, and there's heaps of people over there too, like that aren't like on my skill level, and they're getting shows all the time and living the dream sort of thing. So it's like, well, in Australia, you got to like know someone to get in. Yeah, that sort of thing. So
if you do get in and get repped over there, like you were saying with the healthcare, will they cover all of your like health bills and that over there under these contracts if you were signed to them? I'm
not sure exactly how that works yet. I think if you say something about it, they might throw it in there. Maybe. I know I've heard that the Nitro Circus do something like that. Yeah. Like they have their own insurance policy of like, because they go Europe fucking everywhere.
Yeah, Australia and stuff like that. Yeah, they travel everywhere.
Yeah, so I think they have like this thing of like, if you get hurt, then we'll help you out on our insurance side of things. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if you have something like that, then you might be able to get help. But if I go over there by myself and just start riding, then I feel like I'd have to have my own healthcare, maybe from like Australia, and because that's what I did with China. Yeah, have your own healthcare and then take it over.
Yeah, and then fly back here if you've got an accident or something like that to get treatment.
Yeah, because you don't want to get treatment over in China. It's fucking.
So you were saying that there's guys over there with the same skill level as you. What type of shows are they? Are they in Nitro Circus, Crusty Demons, or are they just other organisations?
Yeah, just other organisations like Aussie FMX and Freestyle Kings. Like, not big, but they're still decent.
Yeah. So he'd be Freestyle Kings US, would he, or just any other?
Yeah,
promotion.
Just any other hoo-ha, like... Yeah. I've seen, like, all these pro guys riding, like, fairs, state fairs that they call over there, and just jump into an airbag, and they've got these other guys that I'm like, I can do a better trick than he can, like... And it's like, well, fuck, why am I... You know, if he can do it over there, like, you know, like... Yeah. Yeah, so it's just always triggered my mind. I was like, fuck, I need to go over and just experience it, like, just the bike scene over there and stuff like that, so...
Yeah, is that your long-term plan though? Like within the next 2 years to try and jump there now because of what the scene's like here?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yep. The next sort of 4 to 5, I feel is going to be sort of a push to try and sort of get somewhere and get the ball rolling with things and try and get some more sponsors and try and get like gear sponsors and bike sponsors so I can not having to buy full price bikes and things like that. And then hopefully go to the States and either stay over there for a couple months at a time, then come back and like do a bit of a hop and things like that. So that's their mid long term sort of goal. Yeah.
Do you have a goal like obviously we've spoken heaps about Crusty Demons and obviously Nitro Circus. Do you want to perform for those two particularly because they pay the best or not really? Or you just like riding?
I just like riding. Like I don't. Like the money's helps like for travel and things like that. But yeah, I just like riding in front of crowds. Like it's fucking sick. So. Yeah, the money's just a bonus really in my eyes, so I'd love to ride for Nitro Circus.
Want to hear more? Each week we will share the hottest clips from our guest interviews on YouTube. But to hear the full episode, make sure to subscribe or follow us on your favourite podcast platform.